So we are currently configuring an off-grid log cabin with Northwoods Cabin Company, and it is the same system as my large cabin. So it contains a 52 volt servo rack battery, all Victron premium components, and two LG 380 solar panels that I'm going to pick up today. So let's have a look. I got to air down my tires so it's a little less bumpy on the solar panels. Here we go, 19 psi, that's good. So today I'm picking up 4 solar panels from a local distributor. It's a warehouse here in the Cleveland area. Undisclosed location, of course. And those are 4 LG 380 panels. And in my mind, they are the best panels on the market right now. It's February of 2023. And I can explain to you later on in the video why I believe these LG 380s are the best panels. It has to do with the charge controller and how many you can run in series compared to larger panels. So let's go on a drive and let's pick these up. All loaded up at the warehouse right here. 4 nice LG 380 panels. So next up, Northwoods Cabin Company. Here we go, pulling into Northwoods Cabin Company. Here's some nice cabins here. So I'm on the Victron Energy website, and those are the charge controllers that I use, and they are all MPPT charge controllers. And if you look at the lineup, they come in increments of 50 volts PV voltage. So typically, this is what I would typically use for 2 panels. It's 100 volts, 50 amps of charging current, but your PV voltage can be 100 volts. And this works on 12 and 24 volt systems. So this is good for smaller systems. One step up, this goes up to 150 volts, and it goes all the way up to 48 volt systems. And that's what I've been using lately. And then you make the jump to 250 volts. And so on, and then you can get into some larger charge controllers here. But this one, for instance, 100 volts, 50 amps, again, it limits the voltage to 100. And the price difference between a 100 volt charge controller and a 150 volt charge controller is significant. I want to say it's $200 or $300, just the difference between these 2 charge controllers. So let's look at these solar panels. These are the LG 405s. So these are solar panels that I'm using at my larger cabin, and they are great. These are 72 cell solar panels. You know, some of them have 60, and this one has 72. So it has 2 extra rows at the bottom, which is great. You would think it's great. So if you look at the spec sheet, let's look at the spec sheet on these. So the spec sheet is, all the best and, all good. And here's where we run into a problem. Electrical properties, standard temperature conditions. Okay, those are not typical conditions. Those are, let's say, standard temperature conditions. So typically 25 degrees Celsius, and this is when this is measured. But I live in Ohio, and sometimes the weather gets quite cold. And if solar panels have lower temperatures, they put out a lot more energy. And there's actually a factor for it. And let me see if I can find it here real quick. Typically, it's 0.33% per each degree Celsius over 25 Celsius. And I think it goes the other way too. So if you're colder, you would increase the efficiency by that number. So here's the open circuit voltage of 49.4 volts. So if you have a 100 volt charge controller, you are already, right at the threshold of 100 volts. And I had it happen to me. I had these two panels in series. It ran into a 100-volt charge controller and it shut my charge controller down. Because the Victron charge controllers cannot be over-paneled on the voltage side. You can over-panel them on the amperage side, but not voltage. They will not accept a single volt more than what they are specified for. At least not the ones I tried and the ones in my experience. So it shut my charge controller down. So I had two options. I can run them in parallel, which would increase double my amperage, which is not good because I'm running 10 gauge wire, right? Or I can buy another charge controller, and that's what I did. So LG 405s. So why do I think the LG 380s are better? Let's look at those here real quick. Here we go, LG 380. Let me see if this is, 6x10, this is the right one. And 21% is actually higher efficiency than the LG 405s. And it has 60 cells versus 72 here, right here, 60 cells versus 72. So let's look at the specs. And of course it has all the goodness that, the other panels have. I mean, in my experience, LG is just, one of the best panels you can get your hands on. General data, temperature characteristics. Here it is. Percent per degree centigrade. So this is 0.24%. So 4 degrees Celsius will lower the efficiency of the output of this panel by 1%. So 40 degrees would be 10% less efficient. So let's look at the open circuit voltage right here, 41.6. See, it's a lot lower than the 49.2 of the LG 405s. So if you have a 100-volt charge controller, which is significantly less expensive than a 150-volt charge controller, you can put two of these panels in series and you shouldn't have any problem. That's why I believe the LG 380s are better panels than the LG 405. Now, if you're running 600-volt systems or something like that, that may not be a problem for you, but for, the cabin folks and the people that I deal with, a lot of times if we can save some money, we will. And to me, the open circuit voltage is a big deal. And you can argue, it's like, look, this is open circuit voltage. I would tell you, look, I've done this and I over voltage my charge controller and it shut down on me. So it's nice to read the spec sheet, we all do, but in reality, under conditions, cold temperature conditions, this voltage will go up. Now, I don't know if this 41.6 goes up to 50. I do not know that. I can just tell you that on the LG 405s, the 49.2 stated goes way above 50. Actually, I had voltages of 108 volts on those, two of them in series. And the Victron charge controllers don't like that, so they shut down. All right, I'm excited. I got 4 LG 380s, and I think those are going to be great panels. Yeah, so I just dropped the panels off at Northwoods Cabin Company, and also the lithium iron phosphate battery. It's a 5.1 kilowatt hour server rack battery. It has internal heaters built in, so it's specifically made for cold environments, for like a cabin environment. So yeah, I can't wait to get this cabin configured, and that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you guys on the next one.